Okay, you wonderful people, here we go again. This is a new one. This is from a company called MiniCity, and this one is called Beyond Library. So yeah, box, it's a big old box. And we'll have a good close look at all the contents and we'll crack on with the build. Okay, so we're going to look at this together for the first time. Haven't opened this as of yet. So that's your sleeve. Yeah. Let's have a look inside the box. This is not only a MiniCity. Maybe it means this is not only a MiniCity, it's a MiniCity you built. A little bit lost in translation. It's got a quality control stamp on it to say it's passed. So yeah, got a bit of packing foam, some B7000 glue, some tweezers, sanding stick, some stickers, and a plastic globe, and obviously the lighting battery pack. This is what weighs the weight. Well, yeah, this is what weighs the weight. Let's have a look. We get rid of the box. The smell of printed stickers. So, paper 5, paper 4, 3, 2, 1. Primarily look like books, some curtains, some more books. Instruction manual. And all these boards, which are mainly wood, and there's some plastic parts there too. So yeah, that's what look at all them books you got to make. It's going to be tons. And a quick look at the manual. The last build, the instructions weren't the best, but this one I think will be better. So a list of all the boards and how to make the different types of books and scrolls. And there's all your assembly instructions. And then, so that's section 1. It goes through it all. So it's a interesting build. Don't think you'll be using much glue. And primarily it's going to be making a ton of books and scrolls to start with, which we'll do a couple together, and then the rest I'll do off camera, and then we'll crack on with the actual build. But yeah, it's going to be nice. Going to be nice. I like the instructions are really interesting, so hopefully they live up to what they look like. Yeah, so this is company MiniCity, and Beyond Library is the product that we're making. Ages 14 plus. Okay, so let's just crack on with it. Okay, so I've cut some of these out. Now if you get one of these blades, they're probably the easiest one, and you just basically cut through. Just like that. And that gives you the books, and then you just separate them up. Boom. So yeah, that's how you cut the books out. And some of them you've got little pegs on the bottom. So the sticker sheet, all the books cover about 5 sheets. So the sticker sheets are, for these ones, it's book covers A. And the way I found with the last build was the easiest way is to line them up on the board like that, and then fold them round. That's one. And then I'll crack on with, so we'll do the ones with the little jigsaw bit. So this is going to take, I don't know how long it's going to take, but excuse me. So that's that type, that's that type. So I'll crack on with all these and I'll be right back. Okay, so after about 3 hours, we've got all the books covered. We've got some ones that the covers weren't available for at the start, so I don't know if I've made a mistake. But here are all the books, probably about 300 of them. Different sizes, different covers, obviously. And then the next stage is just to check the batteries and the lights. They all seem to work very nicely indeed. And it's a little pressure switch. It's very sensitive and everything works nice and tidy. On to the next stage. So we're going to make some scrolls. And because they're pre-glued, they're not as easy to do as you would if you were just using cardboard. So the way I'm going to do it, cocktail stick. Just roll it up. Nice and tight. Give it a quick rub round. Make sure all the bits are glued down. And then we just chop off the excess. And that's your one scroll. Get these lined up first properly. Nice and straight. Just roll it nice and tight. And chop off the ends. And that's the second scroll. Boom. 2 scrolls. Your 3 scrolls ready to go. So I'll pack those away and then crack on with the next. Okay, so once we've got all that out the way, we can start concentrating on the build. So, step 1. Now, it doesn't say to glue these parts together, but we shall see. This goes in here, and it says to prioritize this part first. Then these sections go on. These actually snap out of the boards without having to cut them. So yeah, really nice. And it seems to be going very smoothly so far. Don't want to break anything. Very nice too. Very quick as well. So you've got these other 3. And 1, 2, and 3. That one's got a hole in it, so you've got to be conscious of that. Great start to the build, isn't it? So yeah, once completed will look like that. Okay, future me will realise I made a mistake here. I missed off the M3 part. Then we need to populate it with some stickers that I'll do off camera. I'll probably glue that part in. I'm not so sure it's that secure. Okay, so yeah, we got that backboard in. And then you do that before you start putting your stickers on, which have all been done. And a little tip, there's a QR code at the start of the manual, and you can download a PDF so you can actually zoom into the instructions, which will make things a little bit easier. So we get this C12, and that just goes into that little... Let's just take this shelf out, it's going to be easier. Pop that in. And so yeah, with this, that just fits in that way. Tight fit this, and you've got that L shape that just fits. So that's once completed, that little thing looks like that. So Put this back on. Like so. And that just goes into that hole there. Beautiful, look at that. That wasn't difficult at all. Don't know why everybody's complaining and making it look difficult. Then you've got to populate the books, and it's the C books, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 glued with their spines facing forward. So we'll get those sorted. I don't think it matters particularly which books you use, but as long as they're the C books. So we'll get that glued and we'll get those into position. We have all the books in place. Very nice too. So you have to get your battery box, put your batteries in, and you have to work out which cables are which. So we need 1, 2 and 3, which are the shorter ones. So on this colour we keep those long ones for another part. So I need to flip this over and feed those 3 through the hole. Keeping these to the left hand side. Battery box fits in there. Just like that. And then the shorter one of the 3 goes into this little recess hole. And I'll probably glue this. It does, yeah, it's just to reiterate, it does say leave the batteries in. So, yeah, that's not going to stay in. So we'll glue that in. And pop that in there. Making sure she's seated nicely. Also need to make sure that the cable is bent. I mean the LED cable is bent. Pop that back in the hole. And it says to use a sticker fixation. It goes over there. Hopefully the glue will do the job, but we will do as instructed. So these are the stickers. Might as well leave the file out. Tweezers. Let's have a look. These are clear stickers. So yeah, it will look like that. Right, we're on to the next stage. How exciting. So you get these 2 boards and they just slide over the top there. Both facing in the same direction. And they clip into these holes here. Just like that. Nice and easy. Then you get these little steps. Now they've got a longer side and a shorter side. So you've got to be having the longer side facing backwards. And we pop those into place. Start with the bottom one. Oh, that's one in. And on to the next one. These are quite small. On to the next one. Yeah, they're all lining up straight so far. That's all good. No fear. Let's have a look. Are they straight? Yes. So yeah, they'll look like that. And on to the next stage. So we bring this board into place. Upside down. We'll start building it up. L23, 18 just goes all like that. And 21 goes in there. And in there. Like that. The last bit of the puzzle for this side goes into there. So yeah, we'll do that and then we'll start the process of the other side, which is duplicate of that. Okay, so we get these parts. The one with the brick goes at the front, the one without the printed brick goes at the back. You do the top one in. These are stairs. Get those in like that. It makes you nervous when you hear that noise, but it's also a good thing because it fits into place. So yeah, they're all in. I've got to line these up. So yeah, very nice. That looks too. You get these other ones, other steps, and they just slot in. Do that before we put the top bit on. And then this goes on here. Just like that. And this little pedestal thing just goes at the front there. Yeah. So as far as it goes in. So yeah, once completed, that little piece will look very nice and just like that. Right, so now we need to bring this back in. One of these, the longer one's got to be angled upwards. Like that. And that will come through that hole. Get that all attached. Like that. That goes into that hole. Like that. And you want the light facing upwards. Something like that. Do not extend the lamp beads too long. That's this little column. So, yeah, we need to tape those lights in. Oh, the other light needs bending as well. And they need taping into place and gluing probably. So we'll get that done. Right, so we bring this board in and then this all gets popped onto there. Nice and secure. So we've got some idea of the scale of this. That will show you what the lights look like. So yeah, looks very nice indeed. So on to the next stage. Okay, we're on to step 12. And you just add in these elements. There's 3 of them. They make the back base. And that looks like that. Don't glue anything in at this stage. Now these are the curtains. You have to pre-fold these and stick them in, as you can see. A little bit tricky to get in straight first time. And then you finish them off with the top banner, which is very exciting. It finishes it all off and holds everything all in place so it doesn't fall apart at a later date. They're a little bit shiny, but yeah, you don't really see them that much. Now on to this next stage. This caused me a few problems. It's very small and it's very fragile. And I did manage to snap one of the legs off because I didn't realise that there's 2 little studs at the bottom of the one set of feet, and I was trying to press it to firm it up and one of them snapped slightly, but it wasn't a problem because I just glued it back into place with a bit of wood glue. So yeah, just watch that happen. Sometimes it's a bit of a struggle to get these parts into the little holes because you're worried you are going to snap them, and it does happen, so just be cautious, but not too cautious obviously. So that was all fine there at that stage and that stage. A little bit wobbly, and I thought, oh, I'll just push it down on the table, and lo and behold, snap one of the little feet. That's where I'm gluing it up there. So I lost the footage on this next section of making the telescope, which was really tricky. I would advise you to start with the bigger circle out of the 2, snap the parts into that and then work on the smaller one. So yeah, just adding in this table, and I was so stressed at making the telescope that I forgot to put the little stickers on this table, but as you see later on, they will appear magically on that table. So I did correct my mistakes. You will make a few mistakes on this build because it's quite a big build and quite intense, and there's a few little instructions that need to be a little bit clearer, but generally the instructions are absolutely fine. So yeah, that looks very nice too once it's completed, as you can see. Beautiful. So we're now on to step 17, and you're basically pushing this plate that we've made into the main part that we've already previously made, and it slots in quite nicely. A little bit of a wobble, but you've just got to locate those little clips into those recesses, and it's all plain sailing. Just double checking everything, making sure it's all aligned, and that looks rather nice too. Okay, we're on to stage 18 now. So yeah, this is just basically building a roof for the parts we've already assembled, and it's just a case of clicking these 3 parts in once you've worked out where they go and what orientation they go in. So yeah, that's me thinking, oh, is it facing out or facing in, the brown part? And then, yeah, you just have to work it out in your head. Even though you got the instructions there, you just don't always understand it. And you think, oh dear. But it all makes sense in the end. It says in the instructions to add a bit of glue for extra stickiness. And that is when you're gluing in the next part. These parts just fit in nice. So I've got it the wrong way around there. Like I said, you'll get some bits you just think, oh my god, what am I doing here? But yeah, all comes together, and the end result is really, really stunning. So just persevere and you'll get there. So yeah, this is just adding the roof in. This just clipped in very nicely. Yeah, just have to again persevere a little bit, pop them in, and they've got these little slotted grooves, so it expands and contracts to fit in the hole slots, which makes it nice and easy. And then we go on to the next stage. As you can see in the top, there's a little hole. Later on there'll be a light in there just to illuminate this section. Right, this next section caused me a right headache. So it says in the instructions, put glue down. Don't put glue down, just use the self-adhesive sticker part of this carpet that goes on the stairs. This took forever, and it was because the glue was just, it was coming up as soon as I was putting one step down, another one. You get them all in position and then one would pop up. And yeah, just put, if you're going to put glue, just put it on the first step and on the top step, but don't follow that instruction. I don't know if I was using the wrong glue, but I don't think so. Continuing on with stage 18, you've got these perspex parts, and they've got a little film that's on both sides. On the actual sheet it says please remove the film before using these parts, but I didn't realise till later on that there was the same coating on the reverse side. So yeah, you have to take that off and just bend these parts. They don't snap, but just be a little bit cautious on them, and you just bend them into position. I mean, if they did snap, you could probably glue them because they've got feet on them. that will fit into the recesses. And then once you've done that, you can put them into position. Just take your time. Sorry about the head getting in the way, but I had to look as close as possible. Now I've got these tweezers, pliers, just to straighten out because there was a little bit of a bend on this one side. And that looks just like that when completed. Very nice. And onto the other side. So again, taking this film off. And I found later on actually that if you peel the film off while it's still on the runner before taking it out, it was a little bit easier. But this stuff's all got static and it just gets everywhere, that film. So yeah, and then it's just a case of bending it again to the opposite side, taking your time before putting it into situ. So once you've got it all bent into position, you can put it in to the stair, and that looks very nice once it's completed. Just adds that little bit more visual interest to the section. Right, this is like a cauldron type thing, and I did make a mistake on this one. I got all the parts to fit, admittedly in the right place, but the ones in the middle were facing the wrong direction. So all I did was get some paint and applied it onto the brighter sections, but you'll see that coming up a bit later on. So yeah, that was another mistake I'd made. So it's just trying to work out how everything goes together. So you can see, once I've got it all snapped into place, that yeah, it shouldn't be that colour, it should be the reverse. So hence I needed to paint it. But it wasn't a bad thing because I managed to paint on the top parts where those plugs fit into the top ring. So it just made it nicer in the end. There you go, you can see me applying the paint there. I don't think I even let this dry before I put it into position, and later on that will be where the glow fits into, and that fits in very nicely as well. I would glue this part in to the flooring because that's got to hold the weight of the globe. So now I'm just adding the plastic railings to the stairs, and these are a little bit fiddly, but yeah, I found if you get the bottom step in first, but not all the way, then you can fit in the upper steps, which are easier tags to fit into. And there's that plastic sheet to the right of the build there. So adding the front stairwell cover, and that just finishes this part off nicely. And once completed, we'll go for the full reveal of this section, all the work we've done so far. very nice it is too. Look at that. All the different angles and you get the light reflecting off the perspex. Very nice. So congratulations if you've been following along. You've just finished part 1. And now we transition into part 2 of the build. There's only 4 parts to this build, but there's multiple parts in between. Anyway, on to the next part. Okay, part 2. Steps 21 to 23. Now you've got to have your wits about you on these sections, because you can easily make a mistake on the orientation of which drawer and which peg goes which direction. And yeah, so you've got wider drawer shelves that need to go at the bottom, and it sequentially gets smaller as it goes up. So yeah, just pay attention to that, and also the position of the wooden books on each side. And this is just a case of what I'm doing here is just folding these stickers in, and then they're like open pamphlets, books, and just curling the edges up a bit before sticking them down. They do look nice. But yeah, this glue, I really like this glue. You get a few strings on it, but it doesn't set immediately like super glue, and it dries clear. So yeah, just after repositioning this about 2 times, getting them in the correct order, and they just slot into those holes. That's me just readjusting it. And then things will move about as you're trying to stick things down. So yeah, it's a little bit tricky. Just have to concentrate, which it's not always easy. There you go, just repositioning that, because again I've got these 2 in the wrong orientation. But I think it's an easy mistake to make. So step 23 is just adding the top to the cabinet, pressing it down firmly so it all fits in nice and snug. And that's very nicely looking too. Then you see that board on the right hand side, that's the base board that just slots in at the bottom. That's completed there. Very nice. Then we're starting to add some parts to the top, which are these books with the slots on the bottom. And I would advise, there's a little figurine to the right hand side there. I would advise you glue that one in. Even though the books fit in nice and tight, that might pop out at a later date. And I know that because it did happen to me further on in the build. There you go. It's very tiny, that part. Looks nice though. Then we had the dinosaur. There are 2 dinosaurs on the sprue, which confused me a bit. I suppose that the second one is a spare if you do snap any of this dinosaur part, because it is quite fragile. And yeah, adding some glue to that. There's a book behind the dinosaur. Folding this piece was a little bit tricky as well, because as you can see, you fold one bit and move one bit and the other bit moves, and yeah, just get that all into position nice and tight, and it will hang over the edge of the table. It's quite a nice little feature. Adjusting the book here because that moves every time you move this sheet as well. So once completed, will look like that. Then it's just a case of pushing it into the floor. You can't really see this, but it just goes underneath the stair well at the back, and then we'll show you what it looks like as soon as this scene finishes. There you go, look at that, beautiful. Such a nice design, and especially when it all lights up as well, so you get a full reveal. Okay, 26 to 28 stages. You've got to have your wits about you on this one as well, because you will probably put the last 4 sections in wrong. On the left hand side you can see that board, and it's when you add these bookshelves in, you will get the orientation wrong or the positions wrong. So, but yeah, just glue these books in. They're already pre-printed and they do look very nice as well. So yeah, just the 3 shelves there, and then just really focus on the instructions on this section. So this is where you probably will make a mistake in getting that. So that top one goes in, and there's a gap somewhere, can't remember where, but yeah. And there's another little board that fits in between those books that bookshelves that we've already just made. So that's adjusted for the positions of the mistakes. Yeah, the last bookshelf fits right at the bottom. It doesn't fit into a slot as you'd expect. There you go. Right, step 28, adding the side ladders. Again, you've got to have your wits about you to get these in the correct holes, and trying to get the 2 sides to match. Well, putting them together is a little bit tricky, but not impossible. So once you've completed that, it's just a case of attaching it into the grooves on this side, matching everything up. Take your time, you don't want to break all that hard work you've just done. And then once completed, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. And then you just snap this into the back plate, which is all pre-printed. And then we'll just continue working on this section now for a while. So you adding in some braces onto the shelves and then snapping them into position. Right, so we're on step 30, and then we're just adding these books onto that shelf. I would advise afterwards to glue those in position, because they do move a little bit later on in the build. And then we're just adding some more braces in to get all those shelves nice and sturdy for later on, and it's just getting the orientation right. So those just snap into place. There's 3 of them. Right, we're on to stage 31 now. Just adding these boards in, and they look very nice too once you've done that. Again, it's just adding rigidity to these shelves, because later on you'll be putting parts in there. These shelves are at an angle, but that's dictated by the slots, and that looks nice too. Look at that, it's coming along. Right, we're on step 32 now. Look at this. So yeah, that little shelf is really important. You get that in there, and then it's adding some more shelves that interlock into each other. Sorry about the head getting in the way there. It's just I need to really focus in on the detail, and these parts just snap into place. A little bit of pressure, don't be scared. Tease it in, and boom, you can hear it snapping in your mind. Then you add these end pieces on that lock everything together. That little T-shaped thing locks into this end plate, and that looks very nice once completed. Trouble is you start fussing around with these parts and it makes things worse. See, that shelf is moving a bit, needs gluing in. Right, onto the ladder section. Again, just take your time, focus in on the detail, get the right placement for these parts, and you'll be fine. Just takes longer because you're thinking at the right time, am I doing this in the right position, are they facing in the right position? But just relax and enjoy the build, enjoy the process. You'll get a lot out of it. So we add these ladder sections in to this board again, just to add more shelves for more books. It's exciting. And then you're just second guessing yourself all the time. But yeah, sorry about the head in the way again. But yeah, this is starting to really come together. And then once you've got all these stages done, you do some more cabinets, and then you'll work on the flip side, which is exact mirror of what we're doing here. So you'll see later on that I don't film that side because blimey Charlie, we're on step 35 now. Look at that, we're on to these window frames, and they look really nice as well. It says to glue these in. That's another part of the shelving system, and the brace parts that you're adding in there. But yeah, in the instructions it says to glue the windows in. I just glued the top edge of each window frame. As you'll see, this is another brace part. That's me double checking the instructions. Don't forget, when you're using the instructions, use the PDFs that you've got the QR code for in the instruction manual. You can zoom in, and it's just easier for your eyes when you can get into the nitty gritty, let's say. So that's, yeah, just the top edge of that window frame going in now. Very nice it is too, with the printed background. And then again for the longer window. Very nice. So yeah, very happy with it so far. Okay, so we're on to stage 36, and this is adding a sticker in that side, and you need to make sure it's really in the right position, because later on you'll find out if it's not. And we're adding some pre-made books in there. 2 stacks of 3. They just go onto those 2 shelves. Nice and easy. And then we go on to the next stage, which is adding in the old curtains. Okay, so take your time with these. The shorter window, putting in the curtains is not too much of a bind. It's not until you get to the longer window you'll find out that the stickers keeps curling up and getting it in the right angle. So you put the curtains in first. Sorry about the head in the way again. It's disgraceful. Needs a haircut. Yeah, so you put the curtains in and then you put the banner in at the top. So yeah, just the detail on this model or book Nook is really intense. I love it. So much visual interest added. All the different colours. There you go. So that was the easier one out of the two. Then you get onto the harder ones, which are these longer piece stickers. As you can see, they just keep curling up. And if you hold one end in and then stretch it right into position, you should be okay. And that's those completed. Just adding the banners in, which it says in the instructions to add those in last, of course. Again, you just want to get these perfectly positioned. And as they're stickers, it doesn't matter if you have to lift them up, but just be cautious that they will lift up the other stickers you've already just put in place. So you do want to try and get them in the right position first time. And on the tweezers they give you, there's like a rubber cover, and you can use that just to push these stickers into position. Because if you use normal tweezers or anything, they will scratch the print off the sticker, which you do not want. So there you go, just using that rubber end set of the tweezers. Look at that, what a beautiful piece. And just like that, we're on to stage 37. And this is a case of just gluing in these pre-printed boards that have got books on them. And you just do them in the order of the instructions and make sure they touch the bottom plate of the shelf. So this is when for some reason the camera ran out of juice. Didn't quite catch them all, but you get the idea of just placing them all in. So just adding the last of the books, and then we're adding the old railings, plastic ones, after taking off the protective cover, and that fits in there just like that. Look at that beauty. Then it's a case of just adding in these printed book boards in sequence as they are in the instructions, and a little blob of glue, pop them into place. This one just fell out. Oh dear, they are quite small, and just pop them into place like so. And then once you've got through to that stage, I'm still doing it, look, still popping them in. Last few, and there's two more right at the end. One, and the last one. Look at that. And then once completed, it will look like that. I'm just standing it up so they don't slide out because the glue's still a little bit wet. Okay, now we're on to the G18 bits of board, and they just get glued in onto that shelf. Now that shelf is at an angle, so it's not straight perpendicular to the rest of the shelves. These are quite nice actually, they're a lot bigger, easier to place in and glue. So you do those in the sequence of the instructions so they all match up. And boom, it's all done. Okay, stage 39, 40, a little bit tricky because they're quite stiff, the connections. But that's what it will look like once completed. Then it's a case of bringing in the baseboard, and that just slots into those holes there. You could glue it in, but I didn't. And that looks like that. Then we move on to the perspex railings, and these just slot in quite easily, just making sure the bottom rung is stuck in, as that's the hardest one, it's the smallest one to fit into the hole. But yeah, not too difficult to do if you get them bent correctly. And then once completed, will look like that. Very nice too. Right, we're on to stage 42 now, and these are more fiddly little stairs. You've got this central runner, and you've got to get in and click in each level of step, and you have to do those in sequence. The bottom one has got two little holes that will receive the railings later on. So now it's a case of adding the side parts of these stairs, and a case of just lining these up correctly. Just take your time, you'll get there, and then just push them into place, and they should snap fit with no glue at all. And just do both sides. Once you've got the one side in, it should be a little bit easier with the other side, so they'll line up. And then a case of adding the flooring, which I flip over and just pop into place, not glue. And that'll take you up to there, so that's quite nice. Right, we're on to stage 44, and it doesn't say to do any of this in any order, but I'm doing the carpet part first, just to get that out of the way, because that was a pain when using glue, and I didn't use glue on this time. It made it a lot easier to just fly through that, and as you can see, using those tweezers with the cap on just helps ease it into place. I have to reposition it a few times just to make sure it goes vertically correct at the right angles. But yeah, it was a lot easier doing this. And then I glued the last step in. Right, and then we're moving straight into it with the railings, just bending those into shape before putting them in. And obviously you've got the left and right railings for each side of the stairway. And it's a little bit fiddly, like I said before, but if you get that bottom rung in, you should be okay. Still continuing with step 44, we build the chair, which is a very nice piece to add to this. And it's just a case of, again, getting instructions, following it along, pushing the base of the seat in first. Again, a little bit fiddly, but not impossible. So just a case of, once you've completed the chair, we just add it on to there, and that unit is now completed. Won't sit up properly, but yeah, it looks very nice. Okay, for some reason the last bit of footage was all blurry, so yeah, so installing those stairs, there's a clip at the back under the window, so it just goes there. And those stairs, there's a couple of holes at the back and one on the right, and then you put the plastic stair frame, add that in, and then that's that stage completed. Right, we're on stage 46 now, and we're just adding these top boards in. You add the larger one in first, and the other one sits in front of it. That's me just trying to work out the right angles. And then I had to glue these in. It's supposed to push fit at the right hand side of it, but it just won't hold. So a dab of wood glue in there, and that just held quite nicely, thank you. Okay, so the next stage, you've got you gluing in books, all these ones. So sort of followed the patterns from the instructions, but it doesn't tell you which particular books. So you've got one there, Walt Disney, you've got Lord of the Rings down there, look. You've got some that are facing one way and some at the other. You've got a couple of books poised on top of 3 facing one and some of the facing the other way. And yeah, you just got to glue them in and just let them sit for about an hour before you do anything. I used a watered down glue, which is Gorilla Wood glue. So yeah, that's pretty much all of that side done, including the top. And then we go on to the next stage. Okay, we're on to stage 48. Now in the instructions it doesn't say to glue this in, but just I did. I didn't want this thing moving once it was in position, because it was going to be a bit of a struggle to get into position, and you have to connect it on the floor and at the side so it all matches up and it all fits into place quite nicely actually. So it's not a problem, but you just need to make sure every clip is clipped in, and that's me just pushing it onto the one side. The lights have come on again, and that's just forcing it into position and let the glue sit and dry. Okay, 49 and 50 stage. So this is another cabinet we've got to throw together and making sure it's in the right orientation. So it's now time to decorate this unit, and we've got some books, pre-made books just popped into there at the end. Very nice too. And then there's books with the tabs go on the top, making sure you've got the spines facing outwards. And I've just glued those in so they don't move. So we're just continuing on with stage 50, and we make this little globe, which is a case of bit of wood and a V-shaped bit of plexiglass, and then another opposing shape that fits in, just slots in at the top there. Not too difficult, it's a little bit small, but it needs to be that scale to fit into the rest of the thing. So I think what I decided to do was just glue the base plate in first and then add the top, so you've got some kind of stability going on. So yeah, once complete, looks like that. Very nice too. And then we start adding some other components to the top of this unit, and these are just stickers, and then once completed will look just like that. Then we get to make another cabinet. So continuing on with stage 51, which is that cabinet we've just put together, we start decorating that with some more books. And these are the books with the pegs in them. And again, making sure that the spines face outwards. And then just gluing some other books on, that one perpendicular, and then another one on top. Then on goes some more stickers. And before you know it, that unit is also finished and looks just like that. Right, we're on stage 52 now, which is the scroll bucket, I call it. It's basically different sized rings that get glued on top of each other, and of course the glue gets stuck to your fingers, and yeah, all the fun of the fair. And then it's just a case of putting those scrolls, there's only 3 of them, and they just get positioned in. I just glue the bottoms of each one and popped them in, and then arrange them once I got them in there. So that's the last one just going in. Continuing on with stage 52, we're just putting all those cabinets we've just built and the scroll bucket into position, and that just finalises the flooring area. Well, nearly finalises the flooring area. We've got another couple of steps to do yet. So yeah, and then we put the ladder in it goes. Again, just gluing that into position, and then once completed will look like that in all its glory, nice and lit up. Very nice too. I like the way the light just fits in the middle of the table above that you've just seen. And then we just glue these stickers that have been adhered to perspex sheets, and we just glue those into position, and that's all that stage completed, and that's what it looks like close up. Sorry about the camera being a bit wonky. Right, give yourselves a massive pat on the back, you've reached it this far. And then on to stage 3, which is again a repeat of what we've just done with the one side. So I didn't record that because that would just be a little bit boring. So this is all the work we've done so far together. Look at that. How nice does it look? That's both sides put on each onto the flooring, and we've put the globe in. I advise you to glue this in, because if you need to reposition things later on, that won't fall out. And then you can see the dinosaur in the background and all the different levels. It's very nice. They designed it so well. And the one part I didn't put in is a little wooden part that fits across the top at the back, and that just braces both sides together. Okay, so now we start work on the chandelier, and you have to lay all these out in positions. They give you a couple of spares, but basically you place them on this rod in order, and then you start gluing. Once you're about four pieces in, you start gluing from then on in. And I'll speed this up because this gets a bit boring otherwise. So there you go, that's the chandelier completed. and that's fairly easy to do. Now we're making or putting together the brace that the chandelier will fit into, and I do have a little bit of a problem because I do break one of the feet off, and I'm trying to work out in my head here which is the best way to put this in while we put everything else together. So this just sits into the slit hole, and then there's a peg that holds it into place. So yeah, we're getting towards the end, guys, so it's not too far to go. And this is just adding in the other parts of this roof connecting part that holds the chandelier in. And like I said, one of the feet break off, but I just glued that back into position, and it's not a critical part of it. So once I've done the repair, I've left this part secure overnight with the super glue in place. Just gives it that bit more strength. So can you guess which stage we're at? I'll give you 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's right. Stage 81. So a case of just getting this board put in that roof rack type thing, and these pegs just slot into the holes, and then I just brace them in with some pliers to make sure they're firmly in place. We're on to stage 82 of just putting this into position, and everything will line up eventually. Don't worry about it at this stage. And then we start installing the lights, and basically that's feeding them from the back through these gaps, and that's the control pad that goes in first. At the front of the building, and we've got the second longest, I think, goes in. Now these lights, they just need to be bent 90 degrees for the 2 holes that they will fit into. One will be above the chandelier, and one will be for the back receptacle area at the top of the stairs. Now I hate to ask this, but could you just smash that like button? Thank you. Really appreciate it. So once you've got those both lights in position, you just hold them down with some of that sticky pads or sticky tape that they give you that's clear. I did glue that light in that you can see there with a bit of PVA just to stop it moving. Then we move on to the other plate that fits over the top, and as you can see there, I've marked out where I think the sensor should be positioned, and that just gets held down with plenty of that sticky tape that's clear. So I did run out of that clear sticky tape, so ended up using a bit of my own tape. There you go, a bit of masking tape. Can't go wrong, can you? There you can. So this is where I struggled a little bit. The top plate would not align properly, and eventually I super glued that into position just to hold everything in the correct positioning. So yeah, we're working on the back plate, and we're working now on a door latch system so you can access the battery pack. And again, this is fairly easy to do. So once you finish with the door latch, it's a case of just fitting this in to the tabs at the back of the unit, and you need a little bit of pressure just to push those in. That's me just gluing the tabs because everything was just slightly off, just needed pulling all in together, and I left those 3-in-1 blocks just on top overnight just to hold it into position and secure it down. Right, give yourselves a pat on the back. We're coming up to stage 87. Just need to rip off that cover screen, and that's the dust cover. Beautiful. That just slides in. A little jiggling about, but it just goes in quite nicely, thank you. And we just fit this plate on, and then we'll go for the full reveal. Congratulations, you got towards the end. Don't forget to rate, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.